Yeah. He actually sent it to me himself and said, "Will you be anywhere in Altai?" I said, "I don't know yet." He sends me your phone number, and also just now,
Probably Andrei.
probably Andre. He said, "Drop by and see them. They're cool guys and all that."
Actually, here in the Altai region, it's pretty friendly when it comes to growing things. When it comes to vegetables, the grain farmers are always kind of at each other's throats. Always something going on there. But among us vegetable growers, there's no competition. So we're not competitors to each other. And every year, several times a year, we get together. We have what we call sabantui, basically get-togethers and all that.
Dear friends, we are in the friendly Altai Krai, or is it the Altai Republic?
No, it's Altai Krai.
What's the difference?
Come on, Victor, really. We're going to be coming here now. Right now, you've come to Altai Krai. For some reason, most people from Moscow come here and say, we're going to Altai. For everyone, Altai means that Gorny Altai and Altai Krai are the same thing. But actually, there are two different federal subjects of Russia.
Altai Krai is flat, and the Altai Republic is mountainous.
Not exactly. Altai Krai also has foothills, like the Solnoshensky district. It's the same Gorny Altai, just on the other side.
Well, for me, as someone who has lived in Nizhny Novgorod for 8 years, it's also upsetting when people say, we're coming to visit you in Veliki Novgorod, right? I say, listen, guys, of course you can come visit me in Veliki Novgorod, but I'd be at home in Nizhny Novgorod.
I even bought tickets once. I was supposed to go to Veliki Novgorod, but ended up in Nizhny Novgorod.
Dear friends, study geography, teach your children geography, so you don't end up in Veliki Novgorod by mistake. Although this year, the day of the polygram event will actually be held in Nizhny Novgorod. Are you going?
Absolutely. We go to all the events.
Well, yeah, whatever the event is, even if it's not about potatoes, I still see you there. When do you actually work?
We're always learning. To work well there, you have to study,
Agronium,
SOYUZAGRO.
SOYUZAGRO. What year was it founded?
Well, officially in 2013, but I've been working with potatoes since 2008.
You started.
Since 2013.
You started growing potatoes. Why potatoes?
Man, don't even ask. It was just. I'm actually from this village. I always told everyone that I would live here and never come back in my life. I went to study at agricultural university. By education, I'm a mechanical engineer. So I thought, well, never in my life. It's just not for me, not my thing, not my thing. Yeah, I'll go work somewhere else. In the end, as it turned out, for some reason, in 2008, a friend of mine somehow offered me 20 tons of seeds, said he'd give them to me for free. He needed to collect them as payment for some debts from someone from some farm. He said, something needs to be done with this. So that's it. I borrowed $6,100 and planted potatoes. And now, somehow we just can't get rid of all this anymore.
I'm introducing a new term for people like you. So you're a potato addict?
Yes. I would even use a less polite word, but...
Well, kids might be watching us.
Yes. So let's not...
Especially since the cameraman is my son, he's 13 years old. Listen, am I right in thinking that this is the family nest where potato farming began?
No, of course not. No, actually. Well, there used to be the Poroshina collective farm located here in this area. It was located right here. Its main MTP base and all that were over there.
Is that the first tractor?
Yes. By the way, we pretty much started with it. Actually, there's also an MTZ80 standing somewhere back there in the corners. But this is the first tractor that we basically used to plant, you could say.
For real? Right though?
Yes. So we restored it. We took it when it was basically just a pile of scrap metal. Right now we're keeping it so we can restore it. We will definitely get things in order.
You mean with navigation?
When construction is finished?
No.
No, we'll paint it, fix everything up, just like in the good old days.
Put it on display.
Yes, that's right.
Let's consider what will SOYUZAGRO actually look like in 2025.
Well, at the moment, it's far from the last farm in the Altai region and in Siberia in general in terms of area yield and quality. We're not the worst, let's put it that way.
Well, you've already told me that you work as a processor, right? And those are pretty good results. And the question about the land area, right?
This year, we find ourselves just a little bit short of reaching a full 1,000 hectares. So as a result, we've had to buy...
Did you sell the total volume of seed?
Yes. So we've had to buy more equipment and build storage facility. Unfortunately, there's just no way around it.
Was it a good year?
24,
Yes.
it was the worst year. The worst in all of history. Even though we were under the scrutiny of all the prosecutors, the anti-monopoly service, and so on, there was still a line of people waiting for us.
The year before last, no one came to you with money to help, right?
Before that, no one even knew about us, had heard of us, or seen us. Are things good for you? Things are good for us, yes. But last year, no, it was the most difficult year in terms of yield. We had never dropped to a yield of 22 tons. So our average yield last year was 22 tons per hectare. For us, that's a disaster.
Even with irrigation,
We don't use any irrigation.
is there potential? Where?
Well, we have two farms. One location is here where we basically started. We also have one in the suburbs of Brno, just 12 kilometers away, practically from the city center. There, in the village of Sanikovo, we also have a site and there is irrigation. But this year, it turns out we left all the fields there for crop rotation.
Uh-huh. Listen, I have a question about processing. You mentioned spring. How was spring for you?
Well, this year spring was actually quite good. Basically, we only had about 4.5 days in total, as we were just talking about today, and we couldn't plan. Overall, we managed to fit within the planned time frame of 20 days.
So for you, it was more or less on track in terms of timing?
Yes. Compared to last year, especially last year, it was just a disaster. In total, I think it was 21 days, if I'm not mistaken, when we couldn't plant properly. That is, we were planting in the mud. There were simply no other options, because our natural and climatic zone here is, let's say, not very favorable.
Zone of risky potato farming?
Not quite. Altai Krai is a zone of risky agriculture. That's what they tell everyone in the first year at the agricultural university.
No, that's not why. It's just that Altai Krai starts with the letter A.
Probably, yes.
You see, if it were the Chuvash Republic, for example, you'd be at the very bottom, but Altai Krai is A.
Well, yes, probably. So compared to last year, of course, the sowing season went much more smoothly. Well, we also bought more equipment compared to last year, because last year really let us down, just a total disaster. We couldn't carry out the sowing season properly at all. And on the ridges, during ridge formation, the temperatures were over 40 degrees. At one point, it was almost 64 degrees. The potatoes literally rotted. And all of this was followed by rain and high temperature. The season was actually very difficult. In the fall, we picked up so many different diseases, many of which we had never had before. We usually store our potatoes until June, and we have always managed to do that successfully. But last year, the quality was really not good at all. Last year, potatoes weren't even suitable for washing.
75-90 technology? Why?
I don't even know. Probably back when we were choosing equipment, almost no one was using the 90 centimeter technology, and it seemed like some kind of relic to us. Well, now I don't really see any point in switching to 90s technologies either.
Well, what if you had the choice to start from scratch here?
The very beginning? No, I think we'd stick with 75.
Ah, so there's no irrigation? I just talked to people and they say that with 75, irrigation still causes the potatoes to get pushed out a bit here.
We have our own...
Other problems?
Yes. No, well, it's not really a problem. It's just that everywhere, in any production, there are always some particular features. At 75, if you plant at the right depth and choose proper varieties, I think there are no problems. Let's put it this way. As for problems with green potato zones, we started updating our equipment and working with proper technology. That issue disappeared for us.
What kind of soil do you have?
We have plenty of loam. Well, generally speaking...
Do you have any sand?
No, there's no sand. We have a normal fertile layer of about 20-25 centimeters. And below that, there's a solid layer of clay. So with precipitation as well, well, it's not like in Omsk, for example, where if it rains, the next day everything is already dry and you have to water again. Here, it's more or less normal. In general, our yields, except for last year, have always been 40 plus. Even with our technology-intensive varieties, yields have reached 60, even 65. That's something we've always been especially proud of. Last year really hit us hard, brought us back down to earth, showed us that, as it turns out, it's possible.
It's possible to have less.
It is.
This means worse.
It's not just that it's less and worse. If only the price hadn't adjusted for this. But again, like I tell the prosecutor's office and FAS, we explain to every Onito, you really think we're the ones regulating this with the price? But there are no potatoes. What now?
That's actually a different question, right? Where do they even get their potato price reports from?
I'd have a thing or two to say about those reports from the fall when our Ministry of Agriculture was reporting, actually not even ours. In general, in Russia, they were reporting record harvests. But when I look at myself and realize that, once again, we're far from the worst farm in terms of production, in other words, in terms of production practices. In reality, we've dropped to such levels that, I don't know, it would probably be more profitable to just work with a shovel than what we're doing now. We're using almost 1.5 tons of fertilizer per hectare in actual weight, and we couldn't get anything out of it.
I have a question for you. Actually, it's not even a question, it's more of a test. Do you consider yourself more of an agronomist or a businessman? In your opinion, do you measure yield by how much you brought in or by how much you sold?
We only sell only by sales.
So you're an entrepreneur?
No, entrepreneurs don't build all this with so much money. Potatoes are on a residence permit.
You've already established that you're potato dependent.
Yes. That's where this construction comes from while others are finishing out.
That's pure enthusiasm now.